Hello guys, welcome to another Java tutorial. What we're going to do now is changing some bits in our code, adding two other methods in read console, one for a string and one for character, and changing also in bank account another thing, um, and then we're preparing our code to use objects. Um, First of all, I want to show you in read console. You see here I added two new methods. Sorry, these two. One is a next string method which read the string. Um, this is exactly the same as the other two methods before, but we change in string in here. Here we define string s and we return s. And then next char is get characters. You see that it's slightly different than others. We have dot next dot char at 0. So basically you have to we're going to explain array soon, also to be used with objects, but for now you can just copy this bit of code and remember to change also the type return of the method in char, and as well here, and you return C instead of the other letter. Anyways, you can call it whatever you like. Another thing you want to change in bank account, our account variable is going to be balance now. This is because it's just a better word for what is going to display in the future. Also because we're going to add more variables, and account is just not a name that we want to use for what you use the account variable for now. Actually, it was supposed to be a balance, so we change it to balance. So you have to change balance in all the methods as well, like in here, balance, equal balance, and stuff. So anyway, just take time to change that. Another thing is we're going to change this bank account class in a class that makes an object bank account. Bank account is going to be an object that we're going to use in our software, and this object contains methods, and contains different variables as well. And I'll show you later um, how to make different objects of the same type. Also, we have to go through arrays, and probably this part is going to be in two video. So anyways, we're going back to bank. Another thing, we're going because we're going to be making object bank account as object. We have to take off all the static words in the method. You see that now I have only public void for all the methods, and we have to also create a constructor in here. But I'll tell you this in a second. Other changes that you have to do, I decided to change the selection in a char. You see here, you have char selection equal, and you have to use single quotes and just put a space in it as a default to initialize it. And you will see also here we're going to use selection equal read console dot next char, which is the new method to get characters. And in the case now we have single quote and the number, so I changed the number for quit to a capital Q, so you have 1, 2, 3 and Q, not as integer, but we're going to have characters. And also in while selection you have not equal to and Q in single quotes. But for the rest is basically the same thing. Now, because we took off the static word in bank account, every time we call the methods from the bank account class, we cannot use the name of the class. We're going to make an object, a bank account object. And for this, we're going to reference a name that we gave to that object. So you see here up top, I wrote bank account account1 equal new bank account and close bracket, the two brackets. So now we make a bank account object name account1, and we said that this is a new bank account object. So from now on, when we reference to this object and the value that this object has, we have to use account1. So in here we're going to change account1.display, account1.deposit, because we're using the object, we're calling the method that the object uses. Another thing, moving back again to the bank account class, that we're going to make a constructor. So a constructor is the blueprint to make an object. So you see, first of all, this is our constructor. It looks like a method, however, it never have a return type. You know, in other methods we have a return type. Even if we don't return a value, we put void. In the constructor, we don't put any void word for the return type. We just leave it. So we have a public bank account, and remember that this name, the name of the constructor, has to be the same of the class, otherwise this won't compile. And what we do, we don't put any parameter in here, but we put that balance now is equal 0. Before we used to initialize it here, but now when we make a new account, we just give a balance of 0. It starts as a default as 0, and that's all we need to use. All we need for the constructor: public bank account and whatever value we want to give inside. So back to the bank class, you see that every time we want to make an object, account1 in this case, we call new bank account, and this is a reference to the constructor. So we have a bank account object named account1 and use this constructor to make the object. So now in bank account, in account1, we will include a variable named balance that contains 0, which is this one. Yes. Now, if you have changed everything in the class like I've done, the program will run exactly as before. You won't notice any change, but however, we're not using the class now, we're using an object called account1. And in the next tutorial, I'll show you the arrays, and I'll show you how can you create new bank account objects inside your program. Thank you for watching. See you next tutorial.